showing up on the YouTube at all. So I'm just going to say hi, and I'm going to talk on here while I try to figure out what's going on. So just bear with me. I'm not going to turn it off again, because it's just really... So, best laid plans of mice and men. Oh look, it's gone live. Oh, that is so bad. I was expecting it to be like when I did the live yesterday and all the rest of the time. It is shocking. My YouTube is on this screen and it's still going, oh, thinking about it. Well, no, you're not thinking about it, mate. You're going. I now understand. Where's my other one? It stopped it. So let's go back to Bank Slayer and see if I can see the other one. 74 seconds ago. Oh, it's going. So I'm actually on another YouTube account, seeing if it's working. And it's in real life. It's all exciting. It's really weird. It's not working the way it was. There is quite a delay, so it's really weird. I've turned it off. I will edit it out. How embarrassing. It's like, and it's still going, oh yeah, thinking about it. Just thinking about it. Anyway, I'm back. I've been playing with a few things for a long time, and nothing has felt right. I let the Bank Slayer channel just sit there in the background. Now, for those good people who are new to the party, who've just found me, back in 2009, our bank took us to the cleaners. They got our farms at summary judgment, and it was a shit deal. And in 2010, we lost our appeal, so we had to vacate the farms, hand everything over to the bank, and we were in exile in Perth. And then we fast forward a couple of years, and we sued the bank for damages. Now, the bank ended up settling our claim out of court. It was a pitiful settlement. I'm not allowed to say the figure, but I am allowed to talk about it. I actually had put that into our settlement deed, that I was going to talk about this until the day I die. And it turns out that although I'm no longer holding up people in the shopping queues and, going over my story endlessly, I do still talk about it. And that's no good. It's potential fraud. Hang on. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Am I speaking to...
Oh, maybe.
Hello, this is Rosie. It's Jennifer Scott calling you regarding your registration on our website. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm actually doing a live stream, so you're actually part of my live stream.
Sorry, come again? I can't hear you.
Well, I'm doing a live stream, and you're now on it. Because it comes up as potential fraud, so, I'm guessing that, I'd like to talk to you for just a minute. Because I like companies that do the wrong thing, because I'm talking about that.
Speak louder, okay? I can't hear you.
Well, I can't really shout, because,
Hello?
Oh, they can't hear me now. Isn't that sad? that's really sad. I thought that I would be able to, get them to tell me what they're selling to me, but apparently they can't hear me. So it's a bit sad. And I was hoping that it would be the tax one, but it's not. Oh, look, now they've hung up. Oh, that's a bit rough. Never mind. Anyway, so, yeah, we settled with the bank. And I was already doing my Bachelor of Arts. I decided to go to uni and get that done because I was into website design. As you know, I used to have a cute little website that I had to take down as a form of compromise, but not because of the bank. It kind of happened later. I will touch on that. So I thought I would want to, do website design. And then just before I through my website, I was contacted by a lot of people. A lot of people. And I got to know a few people who had gone through the same thing. And one of them had started a law degree through Charles Darwin University. And, we were talking a bit. And I flew over to Melbourne to one of his court hearings. If I seem to fidget, I had an accident a few weeks ago and it's still quite painful to sit. Anyway, I knew this guy who started a law degree, and towards the end of my Bachelor of Arts, I sort of thought, maybe I'll do a law degree and try to figure out how the hell the bank got away with it, because there's got to be more to it, because the bank obviously committed fraud. We had all of the evidence. Something happened. Why didn't our lawyer put it forward? What happens in a law firm? How do these things go through the cracks? Why didn't our barrister pick it up? That kind of thing. So I decided that once I had finished my degree, I would start my law degree. So, as soon as I finished that, my Bachelor of Arts, around about that time we settled with the bank and we bought a house with a large mortgage, which still cheeses me off, but you get that on the big jobs. So once we moved, I finished the degree and I started my law degree. I was accepted into Charles Darwin University, and I did 2 degrees in 5 years. So I did each one in 2.5 years. And I'm sort of dedicated myself to that. Now, if there were any law students or prospective law students who would watch this, if I could give you any bit of advice, it's see if you can get a job with a law firm while you're doing your law degree, because it's much easier to understand some of the stuff if you're in that environment. Start looking into the kind of grades and things you need to have so that when you're in your penultimate year, you can apply for an associate, to become an associate of a judge. I would recommend doing that. Now, young people tend to say, you don't really have to work really hard at your law degree because, it's just so easy and, you remember so much. I used to be like that when I was young because I'm an ancient 21-year-old now. I spent a lot of time on my law degree and I would read the legislation for the Northern Territory and its West Australian equivalent. I would try to look at cases from Western Australia as well to see if our laws made a difference to that, because I would be practicing in Western Australia. And I ended up doing my degree with honours in 2.5 years. Now, I wanted to write a particular thing for my honours thesis. I actually wanted to show that the Australian government had to act and give us a royal commission. But there's nothing in the Constitution. There is no mechanism that the people can sort of invoke to have that happen. And then while I was writing my paper, it's like I'm starting to do the research, and it was like the day that the semester started and I had to start doing all of my research and everything. Suddenly everyone's talking about, oh, we have to have a royal commission into banking. And it was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So suddenly all of these people I'm associating with, they all know I'm writing my thesis, something to do with the Royal Commission into banking, that, you know, we have to have one. Why do we need one? How are we going to do it? You know, what's the background? And it was the most horrific experience of my life, because suddenly I'm getting 100 emails a day telling me, oh, have you seen this? And every day, every politician would be on the news saying, oh, you know, this side of the argument and that side of the argument. And I was on top of so much of this because I'd made submissions to lots of inquiries and, you know, had read the reports into the inquiries that they'd had. And I sort of knew that there were lots of dodgy things happening. So I kind of had a lot of information to fall onto. And because it's a thesis, you kind of have to delve deeper. And I was wondering if I could find some way of getting the American RICO linked to, you know, this is something that we could do here. That might be an idea. And I tell you what, I had, it was 3 weeks before my thesis was due. I threw my hands in the air and I said, I absolutely hate what I've done. Absolutely hate it. I'm going to rewrite it and I'm going to tweak it to suit me, and stuff the consequences. So in 3 weeks, I rewrote my 10,000 word epic, and I ended up getting second class honours for it. So I thought, I still got my honours, and I only just missed out on getting first class honours. There wasn't much in it, but it still annoys me. To this day, it annoys me that there was nothing in the Constitution that I could touch. There was no way that I could sheet home all of the problems with the banking law to the government. Like, I couldn't say that, you know, the government was responsible for all of our losses, like all of the people who've lost money through the shoddy banking practices, because the government and all of the government agencies are just not doing any oversight. And it just got really messy. And it's like, it was an eye-opener. So once I got really busy when I was studying for my law degree, because suddenly I'm just putting all of my time and effort into it. It was a pretty big reading load, and I would read all of the cases. You know, most people didn't. A lot of lawyers now say, oh, I never read that. You know, you just don't need to. You know, you just read all the cheat sheets and it's all there, which is all fine and good, but I still read the cases. And, you know, did I waste time? Yeah, I probably did. But I learnt a lot. And then once I had my law degree, I did my GDLP in early 2017, and I was admitted to the role of practitioners at the end of 2017, so December 2017, and I got my first and only job as a lawyer in April 2018. And I worked there for 18 months part-time, so it's not enough time to actually become an unrestricted practitioner. And I'm still unemployed now, and I mean, I've got my master's and I've got a graduate certificate in, I've got to stop fidgeting, graduate certificate in commercial litigation, and it's all useful stuff, but I still can't get a job, and I suspect that that's because I took my former boss to the Fair Work Commission and I couldn't make it across the line on jurisdiction. So lawyers don't like hiring people who, sue their bosses. So I suspect I've done my dash as being a lawyer. I've tried to set up my own law firm to run in my own way because I'm very specific with what I want to do, for the income. I'm happy to do wills because I've had training in wills. I did it as part of my master's. I did a practical master's, which does not help me to get into my PhD. But since the honours gets me into a PhD, I sort of thought, well, I'd still like to do the practical master's so that I learn the practical aspects of the law, like, the practice and procedure stuff and, how to do all of the court things. I sort of thought there was value in that for me. So I've kind of I was offered a job yesterday, which I would have loved to have taken, but I'm in Mandurah and the job was up north of Perth. So impractical. I can't afford to move up there for a job that, I may or may not be able to keep. I keep plugging in there to see if I can start a law firm. I'd run it all online. It'd be only me. And it's mostly to talk to people who are self-representing and just need, or who don't know how to approach a lawyer, just to get them to the stage where they've got a barrister's brief. And if the barrister says, you've got a really good case and this is how much it's going to cost you, you can take it from there. And but I wouldn't want to take on too many clients. Just, I've got prejudices. I'm terrible, Muriel. No, I'm not Muriel. Never mind. But it's kind of, it's been really hard for me to wrap my head around what I want to do with the law degree. And it boils down to this. When I applied to get put on the roll of practitioners for my practicing certificate, because I declared that I had a website and a blog that I was commenting about the National Australia Bank in particular, banking, the political side of banking regulation and everything. So they called me in for a meeting and they deemed it, I think one of the barristers, one of the guys would have let me off and, I could have kept blogging. But one of them was adamant, no, you've got to get rid of the blog. It is not professional to have this blog. It might put the legal profession into disrepute. And I'm sort of thinking, I'm about to sell my soul to the devil. And that is still how I feel today. That I got rid of a lot of valuable information. And I really had forgotten at that time that my blog is actually archived, because I guess the National Library of Australia, they figured that my blog wouldn't last the distance and they actually archived it. So it's there, it's available to this day, you can read it all. So yes, I've stopped blogging, I've taken it down, but it's still available because it was deemed to be important. And I still feel like a sellout. I do. I feel like a sellout for taking the blog down. And since I've become a lawyer, I have not taken on any cudgels for, in the fight against the banks. I've removed videos from this channel. I started off another channel with this idea of talking about the law and, interviewing judges and everything on there. And I haven't felt comfortable doing anything. I have done so many videos. I mean, I've done hundreds of videos and I don't put them up. I sort of keep thinking, is it really professional for me to do it? And it's all this fear that they're going to take my practicing certificate away and I won't be able to work as a lawyer, which is what I've always wanted. And the reason I'm back today is because last night I was lying in bed and I had this epiphany. And the epiphany was, just go with it. Just say what you have to say. Do it your way. I am not like other lawyers. I will never be like other lawyers. It's never been my dream to be a lawyer. I became a lawyer because when I was finishing my degree, I thought, I can do this. And working at a law firm has shown me that, yes, I can do this. I can, I can meet billable hours targets without over-servicing clients. I can get the job done. I can do the paperwork. I can stay on top of things. I did court appearances. Some of them weren't stellar. I'm pretty sure that some of my clients got a really good deal because the magistrate must have felt sorry for them because they had me as their lawyer. I don't know. I certainly represented my clients to the best of my ability, and all of my clients that I represented got a pretty good deal. There's one client where I regret not really pushing it with him, that he shouldn't continue with his matter, but that's by the by. Clients still call the shots. Maybe I should have been more persuasive, I don't know. But I am still contacted today, even though I haven't had the website going, haven't had the blog going, haven't had this YouTube channel going for a long time now. I still get contacted by people who just want to have a chat. They want to talk about what their options are. They want recommendations for a good lawyer. They want to know what they can do for themselves. So the reason that I started up another YouTube channel was so that I could put out information there for self-represented litigants so that they don't go to the Freeman of the Land arguments. In Western Australia, we call them the constitutionalists, because those arguments, you show up with them, you get shut down. They just don't entertain them. And all of these people think that they'll win by asking the judge or the magistrate, for their credentials. That doesn't get you anywhere. It's like you want to play Monopoly, but you want to use the rules for Yahtzee or some other bloody thing that isn't relevant. So I'd like to do videos and lives on, how do you avoid that? How do you stop yourself from falling into this trap of, this bogus law? Geez, it sounds so good. It really does. And there's this one guy's given himself a really great title, and I must find it. My computer blew up last year, and I've got a new one, and I saved everything, but the backup file is, I don't know what I saved it as. So that was pretty good. I mean, I've got all of my other files that I need, but because this one wasn't saved in any particular folder with a reference, I can't remember where I've put it. And over the years, I've got thousands of files, so they're all there somewhere. And they give themselves really, really good titles, and I'm sure I'll find it again. And people think that this is a real legal position. And all it is some guy's sort of declared himself king of the hill and has made all of these pronouncements about the law, and the law isn't really this because the law is really that, and all the lawyers and all the judges and everybody's got it wrong. It just, you're all wrong about the law. And it's like, well, we all kind of got to play in this particular sand pit. Can we please not piss and shit in it? And I know that's not very lawyerly, so apologies for any lawyers who are kind of offended by my being me. But, that's just the way that cookie crumbles. As you can tell, I'm really fidgeting now because it's not good. I had a spectacular accident where my foot got caught in a rope as behind our boat, and it wasn't in the water. The boat was actually being driven on the bitumen. It was only a metre, but oh God, it stretched all of my muscles well and truly beyond what they thought they were capable of being stretched out at. And it's just going to be a long time before I can sit still. But that's all right, we'll get there. So, what do I want to do with the channel now? Well, because obviously nothing on here is legal advice, it's with the name of the channel. I don't think anybody would think it was legal advice. And with all the cursey words, I doubt anyone would think that, we're having a professional relationship building here. But what I would like to do is just to simplify things, because when we went through the courts, I knew absolutely nothing about the law, knew nothing about the system, knew nothing about practice and procedure, knew nothing about the limitations, knew nothing about my rights against my lawyer. I'd like to address all of that so that if any of you find yourselves in that horrible position where your bank's taking you to the cleaners or someone else who's got a mortgage over you, and if for whatever reason you end up having to see a lawyer, we'll talk about how do you instruct a lawyer, what kind of things do you have to remember. And I like to tell people, if you're caught up in this, and I mean, I'm not talking to people who would be clients of lawyers who are really professional, who know how to deal with lawyers, like, CEO of a major company. I don't have to tell them how to feel. They don't care. It's not their personal issue. Even if all of their own future is tied up in this, they still have a different outlook. I'm talking about the mum and dad outfits, like, the family farm that's been run a certain way since great-great-granddad started it. And, you're doing all of the work, and, you haven't got 10 degrees and you haven't got all of this sophisticated stuff behind you because you've been bloody well working. How do you deal with lawyers? And I personally think we give lawyers too much deference. They're people. I can tell you, I'm a lawyer now, and, I like helping people. I like talking to them and drawing out their story, but it's got to be quick. It's got to be really quick. So what can I tell you to make it easier for you to instruct your lawyer? And, can I get you to understand that you're in the driver's seat? When I saw a lawyer, I handed everything over to him and let him run it his way. And that's kind of how I was led to believe it was. The first time I saw him, I said, well, I want to sue the bank because obviously something's gone wrong. And he said, well, you can't do that. I went, why not? He said, you can't sue a bank. And this is a lawyer telling me I couldn't sue the bank. And then when the bank did file its papers and started the case, I didn't know that we should have put in a counterclaim. Lawyer certainly didn't suggest it, and we should have put in a counterclaim. And with a counterclaim, chances are it would not have gotten through the summary judgment because we would have put our case a bit differently. Hindsight, having extra knowledge, The reason I want to do these lives, and I would like to do a live every day at 5:30, I do want to put something on Patreon so that if I manage to build this channel up and I can replace my pitiful wages that I got, then, that'd be really good. I would certainly prefer that to going back to working for a law firm that puts money at the front of everything. But that's just me. Mind you, there's a reason it's a business. But there's things you learn. And I would really rather work my own hours. I get up at 5 in the morning. I'd really rather do all my research and stuff between 5 and 11 and then do a couple of hours in the afternoon and be done with it. But I think I finally wrapped my head around the fact that I probably won't be a lawyer. I'll be a former lawyer, and I'll be able to talk to people about how to help themselves. And I really think that one of the first things you've got to do, because I'm not talking to people who are super experienced with dealing with lawyers, is you need to get counselling. Because if you're starting on this road, especially, and I think I can talk to issues on family law. My master's, my major was in family law. So I know how convoluted it is, and it's endless. You do your papers, you prove everything, and then the other side asks for more shit. It's like never ending. I hate family law. The only reason I did the Masters in Family Law is because when I started my job, they said, we want you to practice in family law. But they didn't have a family law lawyer to teach me the ropes. It was all like, sink or swim. And these are people's lives. I sort of started doing, I signed up for it. But by the time I signed up for it, they had actually employed someone to work in family law. And then by the time I was a couple of months in, that lawyer had left and another lawyer came in, and she'd been in family law. Like, that's all she'd ever done. But so I never practiced in family law. But I'd still, because I was just finishing and I'd already signed up for the next slot, it was like, do I stick with family law, or do I change my major? And I ended up sticking with family law as my major. So I totally get family law, and I understand the stresses, and it does your head in. It really does. I have never gone through a divorce. I've never had to fight for my children, like custody for my children. I cannot imagine what that feels like. I've got a friend who got divorced. She never ever said anything bad about her ex to anyone if her kids were around. Her kids never knew anything about, what kind of a man he sort of was, because she figured that, their relationship with her dad is special. It's for them. It's not for her. Her relationship with him was different to their relationship with him. And just because he did things, in retaliation for, her leaving him, was beside the point. He wasn't the greatest dad, but he was still dad. And the kids eventually found out what he was like, and they were all disappointed. They still loved their dad. And, it's hard. But I see so many of these family court things go pear-shaped, because the ones like my friend that settle out of court, you never see them, because they settle out of court. They make the arrangements, they stick to the plan, they follow through, they do what needs to be done. And it just gets a bit messy these days. And my feeling is, it's not just that there's this feeling that it's lawyers. And some lawyers may be like that, but most really good lawyers, they just if their client wants to do silly things, they sort of say, no, we won't go there. But other lawyers just, they poke and prod until they get more work. It's like, and it's the Act, the Family Court Act, that allows it. So a really bad legislation. If you happen to find this because of the references to the family law, you've probably been watching Pauline Hanson. You probably have seen the report, and you know how far it strayed from what it was supposed to have been. It was supposed to have been this wonderful system, and it ended up being nothing but, this massive money-making venture for certain people. But anyway, that's beside the point. The reason why I recommend people get counselling is because I also know people who've lost family and friends because they just don't want to hang around. And you cannot survive this if you hang on to anger for the time it's going to take. Even if you get a settlement, our matter finished in 2014. I'm still pissed off. Trust me. 2013 it finished. So it's 8 years. 8 years since we've done it. And you can get me wound up really quick. So I get it. It's not the best of positions to be in. But I think that's what I'll do with the channel. I'll kick it all back in. I'll make videos. I'll make short videos and longer videos. And I'll do lives every day. I'm not sure how much time I'll spend on it. I suspect I'll spend a lot of time on it now that I feel comfortable, because it's not me still trying to be a lawyer, if you know what I mean. Because with all of the legal profession rules, you've got to be so very careful. I still have to be careful because I like to be careful. But, I'm never going to lead you up the garden path. If there's a doubt in my mind as to, which would be the best way to go, I'll err on the side of caution. So I might not go as deep into opinion, because my opinion is quite skewed. When people say there are no crooked judges, I'm sorry, I disagree. We know that judges can be quite either inept or just so one-sided that they never listen to the facts. As a lawyer, you have to be super careful. Would this get me in trouble? Not if I'm actually looking at the evidence and saying either this is ineptitude on the part of the judge, because he has discounted all of this evidence that is so obviously this way, or he's so deep in their pockets, either because he owns shares, which, got to have investment portfolios, I suppose. Anyway, I'm not making a comment on anything in particular. It's just that over time we've seen a lot of lawyers get done. Judges have been found to be corrupt. There are inquiries into judges. And if judges can be found guilty of sexual harassment and all the other stuff, I'm pretty sure that, they'll do the dodgy things as well. I don't know. I'm just speculating. So I think I would like to keep an eye on cases as they are going through the courts. Look at the documents, what documents I can find. Our court documents aren't always public, so you can't really get a hold of them the way that you can in America. Before starting to do lives, I did a few lives on the other channel, and I am going to delete the other channels, so don't bother trying to find it. But I've done a few lives, And to do that, I've been watching American lawyers because they have a different way of dealing with things than we do here in Australia. So I sort of know how I can take this. We're very, very concerned with, oh, you can't say that. I mean, the minute that I tell any lawyer, oh, look, I've got a YouTube channel and I'm going to, oh, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, you haven't even listened to what I want to do. But it's like, oh, no, you can't do that. And it's, really? That's interesting. Very interesting. So, I don't know. It's all fraught. My favourite word again. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that today because I'm still sort of working things out. You will have noticed that, my channel doesn't look as pretty as others. So I'm going to over the next couple of weeks set up channel art. I do believe that I've got a merch shop, so I must get the link for that and put that onto the channel description. And I think in this one I've actually got the link for PayPal donations. It's the Streamlabs. I'm actually using OBS Studio and they let me do it. So I just want to simplify everything. Whether it's a good system or not, I don't know. I've certainly moved on a bit and I've still got problems with lighting and the camera. Never mind. So I am going to have a bit of fun with this channel. So I'll probably put my puppy videos on here as well. I'll just do a separate thing for the puppy rather than putting it on a personal account and having another YouTube channel. I don't know. I mean, I'll just post them, and if you want to have a look at them, they'll just be under puppy. Talking about getting another puppy already, and our baby's only 8 months old. 9 months old. Not old. But, yeah, we're looking to see if we can get his sister when the owner of his mum lets her have one more litter before, getting a spade, because she's not a breeder. She just, really enjoyed the experience last time, would like to have another litter, and then that's it. But got such a cute puppy. And it's the first pet we've gotten since our cat died. And our cat, we'd had him for 17 years, so we actually had him on the farm. It was a bit of a shock for him moving into the city, I can give you the tip. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to stop wasting time. I will put together something for tomorrow. Might talk about a case or something. Might have a look at the Royal Commission report or, the criminal conduct stuff. It won't be well researched because I'm still trying to learn how to do all of this. I've decided to, see if I can have the channel looking pretty and do things, but I can't sit for a long time, so it'll be a bit at a time. So, let me see if I can, found it. So that's it for tonight. I shall see you tomorrow or, whenever. If you find this video, just leave a comment to let me know what kind of things you might be interested in watching. I will, put up a notice for when the stream's starting. It's a bit weird because, God, it was horrible trying to get this started. It was like, it's still going, we're connecting your software. It's still going around. Never mind. I'll see how I go. I'll work it out. I'll watch some YouTube videos. Anyway,